Welcome to today's episode. It might grant you a second job or maybe a new skill if that's what the revelation scroll does. Then Rain and Silk suggest that Marina should use it when it's repaired since she only has one job right now. Marina is a little hesitant to accept since sword mizo are rare and she's not sure she has the potential to become one. Still, Yuka thinks it's worth a try anyway since even if she doesn't get a second job she might end up uncovering some sort of hidden ability. Just then a chest appears as their reward for defeating the orc, and after opening it they continue walking until they get to the break room between floors. The reward they got from the chest was a magic bag, so Rain is over the moon with joy since everyone said she could have it, mostly because its magic bags are more useful to people in support roles if they manage to find another one at some point. Yuka thinks it would be best if Silk got to have it, since it would allow her to store more arrows once their break is over. They all get up, but before they continue he wants to review the team's losses and gains. You could use one of his scrolls, but his mono levels are still decent and Marina feels perfectly fine. Sil used 5 arrows when they fought against the orcs, but she's got 20 left, and as for Rain, she is ready to continue since everyone is still in good condition. They continue down to the 3rd floor and Yuka warns everyone to stay alert since even though this floor doesn't have a 4 boss they have to be ready in case they get attacked. There used to be a door to the main dungeon, the abandoned city, but around 10 years ago the door just vanished so anyone can just walk in now. It is said that in the past the door was guarded by multiple shadow stalkers, and from what you could knows the shadow stalkers are supposed to look like solid black mannequins with shiny eyes, but those things haven't been seen in years so there's no way they'd run into one here. However, there's a black mannequin with shiny eyes just staring at them menacingly from the 3rd floor, so Marina asks if they should be concerned about that. That thing is definitely a shadow stalker and Yuka thinks it's unbelievable that they are actually seeing one here, so he makes sure the recorder gets a good view of it. The shadow stalker may look creepy, but they don't have to worry for now since it's on the 3rd floor. There's no way it can cross the distortion field. However, the shadow stalker proceeds to jump down and pierce through the distortion field like it's nothing, so they might be in trouble. After all, Yuka tells everyone to get ready to fight and pulls out a scroll of multi-enchant to buff the girls as much as possible, but even with all the enchantments, when the shadow stalker launches its first attack it takes Marina out in one hit. Rain rushes over to Marina's side to heal her while Silk provides cover, but Yuka still can't believe that the shadow managed to shatter his multi-instant barrier so easily. The shadow prepared another attack, so Yuka charges forward and casts a protection barrier on himself, but the shadow's attack easily shatters it, so Yuka comes to the conclusion that the shadow's attack must be specifically made to destroy barriers, so he switches tactics and casts blink shadow on himself so he can avoid being hit altogether and sneak up on the shadow to slay it. However, before he could strike, the shadow turns around and hits Yugo with a dark magic curse that leaves him immobilized, so there might really be no way to beat it. The shadow then casts another curse, but Rain manages to block it with a holy shield while Silk counterattacks with her dryad vines. While the shadow is busy, Rain tries to heal Yuka like she did with Marina, but to her horror she discovers that Yuka isn't breathing at the same time. The shadow slashes Silk across the back and Marina manages to chase it off, but it's moving way too quickly for her to hit it, so Rain decides to use a wide area spell to take it down. She casts Icicle Rain and aims it at the shadow, but it disappears and slashes both Marina and Rain in the back. No, all the girls have been badly injured, but the shadow isn't down yet because it then proceeds to cast dozens of eclipse cannons and fires them straight at the girls. This would have been the end of them, but at the last second Yuka returns and casts a light shield over them. He covers the floor in 1,000 trip spells so the shadow can't get away, and then he begins spamming every possible debuff effect he can cast to weaken it while also casting buffs on the girls to heal him. Now that the girls are back in fighting shape, Soap TR wraps the shadow in her vines, granting Rain enough time to cast her undead spell to erase the shadow. The battle is finally over and Marina is so glad that Yuka is still alive that she gives him a big hug, but Yuka tells her that her hug is bringing him dangerously close to dying again. Once Marina lets go of him, Yuka thanks her because if she hadn't spotted the shadow stalker when she did, it might have gotten them with a surprise attack, and that would have been a guaranteed death sentence for them. He then asked Rain what she thought of the shadow, so Rain says it was undead but its mana was in disarray, so it felt like the shadow's existence shouldn't have been possible. Furthermore, it shouldn't have been able to pass through the distortion field, so in all likelihood it must have been the result of a dungeon overflow. So asks Yuka what he thinks they should do, and since they are already at the bottom floor he suggests that they should at least finish their quest before they head back up. In that case, Mar asks if they should inform everyone of the shadow stalker with a stream, but Yuka would rather not since they are wearing Earth's unreleased equipment line, so he doesn't want to show it to the public without permission from the scent. Yuka suggests they finish the quest quickly so they can get out of here, so they keep moving and head down to the corridor. There they find the door that leads to the abandoned city, and according to the legends, people once lived in there. However, their quest only requires them to make it to the gate, not enter, so once they touch it they turn around and head back to the surface. After returning, Yuka makes his report to the guild, and once he is done he meets up with the girls who were waiting outside. Silk asked him how it went,